Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Democracy allows us, this kind of democracy, allows us to see what kind of garbage gets to lead us, get elected, and in charge of us. If you look at it, someone gets elected for 5 years or 4 years or 6 years, and you can't do anything about it. He's going to be elected and stay over there unless he commits a big crime and somehow gets removed. But that's rarely. So we have this idiot, I would say, Lindsey Graham, who says something that I think we all know that that is possible. The only thing is he makes some claims that are really brainless. But let me show you what's the last one that he made. The Hill. Graham warns a Russian nuclear attack on Ukraine would be an attack on NATO. No, wouldn't be. Ukraine is not part of NATO. So how do you conflate that? How do you make the connection? Remember that when the Russians said that they have to invade Ukraine because Ukraine is going to be turned into NATO and is going to be, how do you call it, threatening their national security and all that. That was one of the points. Said no NATO in Ukraine. And the guy said, well, it's a long process. They're not going to be NATO. Don't worry. The German Weasel said, Ukraine will not be in NATO for a long time. And right now this guy says, well, actually, if you nuke these guys, that's an attack of NATO. Since when? Based on what kind of treaties? They don't need that. That's my point here. They don't need that. Now, let me give you a scenario of this happening. If the Russians, let's say, nuke the Ukrainians, which I hope it doesn't happen, the Americans will do shit. Nothing. I guarantee you 99%. Why? What would they do? Tell me, Graham, what exactly will you do? You're going to send some missiles over there? What kind of missiles? Conventional missiles? Or nuclear missiles? If you're going to send conventional missiles, I guarantee you that the Russians will send some back. What are you going to do? You're going to fight them? Okay, and then you end up to where? Nukes versus nukes. I mean, these guys are bad chess players. Not only chess players, they're bad. I don't understand how this guy planned his life very well. Lindsey, he planned his life very well. He's a U.S. Senator of what? South Carolina, I think he is. Anyway, this is the product of democracy. And he thinks like this. He thinks, at least he tells us, just a first move. You know, like in chess, you think a few moves ahead. This guy's only first mover. Fuck. Boom. Oh my God, I didn't think about that. I'm going to do this. Boom. Oh, that's the consequence. Oh, I didn't know that. So let me see what kind of argument this idiot brings. Something that obviously the West will be all scared and say, what the hell, guys? Use nuclear weapons? The Russians will not use unless they really get losing the war. Whatever it is, special operation, then they might. After they threaten them, that's a deadline. Stop or we're going to do it. Why? Because it's also the historic moral, moral blaming, like the Second World War, the atomic bombs that were dropped. They will always be over there. You can turn it however you want. It was for this, it was for that. No, there were 2 atomic bombs dropped on 2 cities. You can tell me whatever you want. That's the fact. And that by definition is a war, blah, blah, blah. That the Russians, if they do it, definitely it is. Anyway, let's see what Graham oinks here. So Lindsey, a prominent Senate Republican, defense hawk. He's a pussy, that's what he is. But he needs to he needs to stay in business, that's why he makes these kind of statements. Warned Monday that a Russian nuclear attack against Ukraine would be viewed as an attack on NATO. He has no power to determine that, even though Ukraine is not a member of the alliance. So then how it is? Because we say so. I thought this is like, they tell us that the Americans want to create a rule-based world order that the Russians are violating at each corner. How is that a rule-based where there's no rules over there? There's no treaties, there's no definition. Based on what you consider that? Well, because I feel like, are you going to do anything about it? Well, the problem is there are certain countries that can do something about it. And the rest of the world can't. That's why it has the hegemony. And it's challenged by Russia now, and it's going to be challenged by China, and it's going to be challenged by other countries. Oh my. So Lindsey delivered his warning after former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev said Russia would have to use nuclear weapons if Ukraine forces threaten Russian territory. And more than that. That's not a wishful thinking, or, that is the doctrine. So it's written down. Everyone has access to it. They know what it is. The Russian nuclear weapons use doctrine. They know what it is. So it's no surprise. But to say if you had bombed them, it's an attack on me, that's new. Do you have any treaty? Doctrine anywhere? We were not aware of it. So again, this guy, and he's a senator, that tells you how he thinks, and he makes laws. He's in charge over there. He's a senator, right? And this guy thinks like that. So don't you think that if he doesn't think the same way when he's with his weasels over there? This is just a joke anyway, just so you know. The senators and the House representatives are just a joke over there, just for us to give us the illusion that we control and we are in charge and they represent us. No, that's not what it is. They're all for military-industrial complex. They're all for this, all for that. They don't let us. If they would come tomorrow, you see, they can't make up their mind in, should we have a wall? No, we should not have a wall. Should we send to Ukraine? Yeah, we should send. We should do this. But if you put that to a vote, a general vote, like a referendum, that would be very different from what these guys are promoting. And that tells you the will of the people is not the same with the will of the elected officials that supposedly implement the will of the people, represent the will of the people. I don't have to go too deep in that. Just pay attention. And I'm quoting, to my Russian friends, that you have none, who talk about using nuclear weapons in Ukraine, you need to understand that that would be an attack on NATO itself. Why? Based on what? Given Ukraine's proximity to NATO territory. You can make shit up. He tweeted. So because of Ukraine being close to NATO, and NATO came close to Ukraine, it was not Ukraine moving towards NATO. When the Russians said, guys, you are too close, this war in Ukraine, or whatever these guys are killing the guys in the Eastern Ukraine, is too close to our territory. What did Graham say? No, there's their will, they can do whatever over there, and right now it's too close. It's, how should I put it? You have a rapist or a guy like that, and he comes closer to you, come closer to you, and you say, if you come closer, I'm gonna smack you. What's wrong with you, buddy? It's my right to be close to you. I didn't touch you yet. But if the roles are reversed, you come close, wait, I'm going to punch you. I mean, you can't use the same situation and use the different logic for the same situation. Besides, where is the United States on the map? Where is Ukraine? Where is Russia? I mean, this is so idiotic. Ukraine, Russia, United States over there, too close to NATO. Who brought NATO there? Well, it was our right. We don't change the subject. Who came to Russia's doorstep? Russia moved towards you, or you moved towards it? Could Russia consider it as a threat? No. Why not? Because we're good and Russia is bad. That's what they give us. Oh my God. Anyway. Time to sober up? I'm quoting. Realize that your barbaric invasion of Ukraine is not working. Withdraw and save many young Russians from pointless death, Graham said. Graham tweeted an article reporting on Medvedev threat. Well, Medvedev, listen here. You see, Medvedev threat. Now, if someone, that's what if I have time, I do. If someone comes closer, I tell that person what will be the consequences of his actions. It's not a threat. For instance, if you have a child, you'd say, hey, child, if you're going to jump down the cliff, you're going to go down and you're going to die. Are you threatening me, Dad? No, I'm just telling you what's going to happen if you jump off the cliff. So the same thing, if I do something, I'm just telling you. If you come too close, I will defend myself. That means I'm going to react physically. I'm not threatening you. Don't come closer. This is what's going to happen. You want to take those steps? This is my reaction. Natural course of events from my view. The same here, Medvedev's threat. Medvedev merely told you what's going to happen in case Russia loses the whatever is over there. They say the Ukrainian counteroffensive is successful and they break through and they take Russian territory, according to Medvedev. So if that happens, look at the Russian nuclear weapons use doctrine, and you're going to find that this action would fall under their definition. That's the next thing. You know what I mean? Someone grabs you by the balls, what are you going to do? Unless you like it. Obviously, you're going to react. If you touch me, I'm going to do this. Hey, you're threatening me? Yes, I am. Take it however you want. That's my next step. So again, Graham now takes over the whole world. This is mine, this is mine. I have my own interest. That's how these guys operate. They say, well, my national interest. You see, U.S.'s national interest is wherever they want something. If there's oil, that's national interest right there. And there's a threat. If someone comes closer and say, wait a minute, don't come too close, he's going to say, well, just a second, it's my national interest to come close to you. But I'm going to defend myself. No, you can't. My national interest. And when I push you, oh, you attacked me. What are you doing next to me? This Graham is just, he can exist, do whatever, say whatever. My problem is with people who elected. There's some people elected, thought that he is an acceptable product that should be over there as a senator, as others thought that Biden or Trump or these guys that are not. In my world, I don't know if I go back many years, many decades in the US history, I don't find a person that I would vote for, considering that a product to be voted for as the US president. But these guys were put in front of us for us to vote that you don't agree. When it was, I know, Trump and what's her face, Clinton, Hillary, for me it was like, these guys should not even be around. They should not be in a position to be posted in front of us to vote for them. They do not meet my requirements as a leader and how much these guys are supposed to know and how they're supposed to behave. Not a minimum requirement, none of them. And you go back to, don't talk about Biden. Poor Biden is poor. I don't want to say poor because I think he's very sneaky and almost to the point of criminality, I would say. But anyway, Clinton, another one. I played a little bit of saxophone, spoke a little bit like this, and a certain strata or certain group of the population was all wet. Well, it's not about that. Yeah, see this. You're doing a good job, baby. That was Clinton. That was a great president. Oh, well, the economic. It's not only the economic. And then on and on and on. Bush, take the Bushes and others. I'm sorry, man. These are not... just to show you what the product is. Lindsey is the product. You got that Fetterman, I think it's called, from Pennsylvania or Ohio, whatever he is. I don't even care. You know, the guy that is... the poor guy had a stroke. He's not all there. But it doesn't mean that we have to cuddle. You're not good for the position. But hey, it's the will of the people. If people voted, good. That's how democracy works. Well, we might have, let's say, a felon or a rapist that can be a candidate. There's no law, I think, or is no in the Constitution written anything that, let's say, if you're a felon, you can't participate for election, you can't run. I don't think so. So therefore, what are you going to do? Let's say you have a lot of rapists or whomever, they vote for this guy, you're going to have that guy over there. And he's going to appoint for certain departments the people that he thinks they fit. And they're good. Is this democracy? Yeah, it's the will of the people, but the product? What about the product? What I'm talking about is dumbing down and creating a perverse society, and it sees. And he threatens Russia. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I tell you what you're going to do. You're going to talk loud. That's what you're going to do. Because you have to save face. Remember, when you say something, you have to follow through. You have to do it. You know, you can't just... So what are you going to do? Are you going to nuke Russia? I don't think so. Are you going to attack Russia? I don't think so. If they get to that point, if you attack Russia, if you look into their doctrine, that falls under the nuclear weapon use doctrine. They will use that too. So where are you going to end up? Do you think that Lindsey wants to die? No, he's got more to lose than you or I guarantee you that. Why do you think he climbed so high so he can just die in a second because Putin and some idiots decide to blow themselves over there in Ukraine? Psst, you gotta be out of your mind. He's a weasel, by the way, so you know how weasel think. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.